I got to ask you just right off the top, do you feel any better or have you learned anything about this assassination attempt on President Trump at all since last we spoke? I mean, we talked about a week ago when you were last on this show. What I was struck by back then is that not only do we have we don't know anything of substance, like more than what we knew the day the assassination attempt happened, but the more we find out, the more inexplicable it gets. So where are you on all of this?
Well, so I think there are a couple of things for folks to reflect on that I've asked my audience to think about. So the assassin himself, we now know that this is a guy who had very few friends, a loner, but he had 2 phones, multiple electronic devices, and he used encryption apps abroad. Very suspicious, very unusual. So I think about that in that profile, not typical. Second, one of the other things that I think that is very alarming over the past week that we've learned is we've had the deputy FBI director plus the new Secret Service acting director saying things that don't make sense. Mm-hmm. The deputy director of the FBI saying that actually it has never been in doubt that Trump was hit by a bullet. And yet 4 or 5 days before, of course, Mr. Wray said that there was doubt. So this is the long and continuing saga of the FBI leadership targeting somebody that they don't like. In this case, it's Trump, but it's still alarming. No matter if you like Trump or not, you plan to vote for him or not. That, to me, is yet one more game that we see the FBI playing. Also, talking about the motivations of the assassin. You know, they're pointing to stuff when he was 14 and 15 rather than the stuff that's more recent. Well, the more recent stuff shows that he's more of a leftist, and that's probably relevant because he tried to shoot Trump. So I think that game of the FBI, the politicization of the FBI, that remains something that it was always of concern to me. Now it is on rocket fire. So that's the first piece. The second thing, that the Secret Service director saying that he just lacked, imagination. The quote that is just incredible is he's telling his folks that they just lacked imagination to think that the world might want to assassinate a president, former or otherwise. And it's like, come on, imagination. This is not a John Lennon song here that we just need to imagine the threats out in the world. Like, come on, we're not stupid, but they're treating us like we're stupid. And that is the part that's alarming for me. That is regime stuff that I've seen in places like Egypt and Pakistan. They don't care about even coming close to the truth. It can be audaciously wrong, but they'll still say it. And that's a pretty dangerous point when you get to a place where your regime leadership, it just doesn't care what you think. And they will say the most bald-faced lies up to and including other silly things like the flat roof is really steep. That's the part that starts to really alarm me, is that the degree, the audacity of the lies.
Brian, you mentioned something about Christopher Wray saying, oh, there's a question as to whether or not President Trump was hit by a bullet or shrapnel. To me, that seemed like a psyop intended to give these Trump assassination hoaxers some form of cover and credibility in the press, because moments after Christopher Wray, and it really was moments after Christopher Wray said this, there were all these media outlets with the headline, like basically, Trump not shot or Trump was injured in an incident. And I got to believe that he did that intentionally and for that purpose. What do you think?
Of course he did. Look, he knew walking into that testimony, 34% of Democrats, according to some of the most recent polling, believe in these Trump conspiracy theories about not being shot or whatever it may be. He knew that going in. So he knew he had a very special obligation to not spread that stuff, not to encourage it, to not stoke it. And he did anyway. That is exactly what James Comey did, his predecessor, when they had that Steele dossier. They had already investigated it. They knew it was garbage, but he briefed it to Trump, knowing that the fact that he would brief it, doing that gave it a degree of credence and credibility. The press would run with it. That's exactly what he did, and that's what the press did. So this is where we start to get back to what Chuck Schumer, the Democrat senator from New York, said, that the intel community have 6 ways of Sunday of getting back at you. This is exactly what they're doing. They know precisely what they're doing. They're trying to, again, damage Trump, because they know if this guy comes into his team, they're going to wipe out all the partisan fraudsters at the DOJ and the FBI. So they're trying to save their skins. Of course they are. So, yeah, it's part of the continuing game. We all know it if you've been paying attention for a while, and it's wildly, wildly dangerous.
Mike Lindell here, and like you, I see our country being destroyed daily. We face massive economic issues, And I can tell you from firsthand experience, there are people in power who threaten the values that have made our country great. Well, I've been a believer in gold and silver for a long time, and I've searched for years for a partner that shares my values. Well, Genesis Gold Group showed me how easy it is to protect your IRA, 401k, or your retirement with gold and silver. Their faith-driven approach to service and stewardship is one that stands out from the rest.
To get your free definitive gold guide and get started learning more about investing in gold and protecting your retirement from uncertain times, visit treasureandtrust.com now. Fill out the basic contact form and a member of the team will be in touch. Again, that's treasureandtrust.com or call 855-625-7760.